time we were inseparable.
Until we weren't.
For two chaotic souls, one punk and a little unhinged,
one soft and very pink.
This is Ex-Best-Friends.
I'm Kat. And I'm Jax. And every week we dive into stories that are messy, magical, or mildly traumatizing. Sometimes all three.
From spiritual chaos to ex-friend reunions, listener confessions, and the wildest Reddit stories we can dig up.
We're your cosmic gossip hotline with emotional damage and healing energy.
So grab a drink, get cozy or chaotic,
and let's get into it.
Alright, okay guys, so today, this is a very special episode. We have my best friend from elementary school, so bestie before Jax.
I'm a little hurt. I'm kidding.
And they're gonna be on the podcast, and we're basically gonna be exposing the shit show that my elementary school was. And Jackson might be hearing some of these for the first time. I'm not sure.
Most likely all of it for the first time. I don't think I know a lot of it at all.
Yeah. So,
and then real quick, just if you can't notice, for the ones watching our video, we have new hair. My hair's rainbow. I know it's kind of hard to notice because the back kind of got a little fucked. But it's okay!
Mine is actually looking like bubblegum pink in the camera.
I know, I love it.
Which I'm glad, because when it was such bright pink, I was like, I don't like it. But I like it in the camera at least.
Yeah.
So it looks better in the camera than it might look in real life, but it's not bad. It's probably naturally lightened since I did it, because it naturally lightens, right?
Yeah, it will lighten up a little bit.
Yeah, alright. So it's perfect.
So anyways, we're gonna get into the story and then sit back and enjoy.
Yep. Okay, y'all, we are here with my elementary school bestie, Reese.
Hi.
Also, because I'm looking at the, what is that thing called? The monitor. You can see the little third box. That is me. I had to join in on my phone so I could hear the guest.
Yep. This is going
and
great.
Now I can hear everything echoing. Help me. Wait, I can deafen you.
Yes, you can.
I'm so smart.
Can you only deafen me? Oh yeah, you can turn me all the way down.
Okay. Oh, thank gods I can't hear you. Okay. That was so annoying that I could hear myself and Kat echoing.
Okay, so where do we want to start with our story? Jackson can react and jump in whenever they have a reaction to something. Okay.
I'll be listening. I'll be listening.
Share with the podcast viewers on YouTube what you're eating.
Oh, okay. I'm eating a chicken Caesar salad wrap.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the healthiest thing I ever eat.
We actually didn't meet until second grade, right? Because you were back after I was.
I was gonna say, I think we were held, you were held back in first grade, right?
Yeah.
And then that's how we met, is because I was held back in second grade.
Yeah, okay, it was confusing because if I wasn't held back, then I would have met you, but then you would have been held back, so I'd be ahead of you.
Yeah, it was.
You were ahead of me, weird. And then we weren't.
Yeah, really weird cycle.
Yeah.
I think we were in the class we were meant to be in, let's be honest.
Yeah. Even though I hated everyone else, minus the person I liked you, and the person that's name starts with N that I don't want to name drop. What should we...
Oh, do you not remember, the person with a C that we can't name drop?
Oh my god.
I have no idea.
I think I remember. Talk about him a little bit, and then we'll see.
They were blonde, and they were friends with us before they moved away to Spokane.
I genuinely don't remember him.
Just remember them because, some stuff happened. Anyway.
It's okay. If you want to talk about it, we can. But, okay, so...
Oh, no. It's now stuff, not past stuff, so...
Okay, well... For the podcast, the casters watching us at home, I knew Reese actually we already said this, but I knew them in elementary school. Then I moved in middle school and I met Jackson. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm the OG.
You're the original. Okay, but so what story should we tell first? Should we tell the story about the girl whose name starts with a B, who was like the worst human ever? Like, I hated her more than anyone. I hated her guts as a kid.
Can I just call her a ballerina? Like, can that be her name instead of her old name?
I was gonna say something a lot more rude.
BITC.
Yeah, I was gonna say bitch.
Yeah. I don't think that works. But I mean, she was awful.
No, yeah, she was the worst.
She would always force me and Kat to play witches, and she would be a pretty princess, and
Oh my God. And she would make you the witch every time. Which do we believe?
she would. Yeah, every single time I had to be evil.
And didn't we say that? Do you think that was racial? Yes or no?
Yeah, it was very clearly racist.
Yeah. She just didn't want me to play with them, so she'd make me be the character that dies instantly and couldn't play anymore every time.
Yeah, and she would make your brother also die instantly because your brother would want to play with us, and we didn't want your brother to play with us.
To be fair, I didn't want him to play with us either. He had other friends. He actually had friends. I don't know why he kept going with us.
Yeah. And then there was
Remember
stuff
when-
with
brother, that's
cousin
why.
dating your brother. Do you remember that?
Huh? Repeat that?
You remember when my cousin dated your brother?
It quote unquote dated. They were in elementary school, but didn't they kiss? Didn't they kiss at recess?
Yes!
Oh my God.
What?
Remember when my brother had those like friends that were like in the kid version of a gang?
Yes.
This is new information that I feel like I can use against your brother.
Yeah, you can. But and then remember when they were doing I remember one thing that was cool about you is that you were kind of like the elementary school version of somebody who wanted to seek justice.
Yeah.
So like I remember when we saw my brother and a bunch of kids, they brought like a spyglass or whatever it's called. Like the thing that they use in movies to school.
Yeah.
And then at
Magnifying
recess,
glass?
yeah. And at recess, they would go out to where the bugs were on the.
They started killing all the ladybugs.
No, for real. They would all use the magnifying glass to do. I'm pretty sure this was around when that Alvin and Chipmunks 3 that we actually recently dropped.
Oh, Shipwreck?
Yeah. So we watched them when you slept over. It still holds up, I'm not gonna lie. Haters are wrong. But, basically, they would, like, take the magnifying glass, go out because our recess field had, like, a very small playground, aerial tetherball, and then there was just a random, like, field of grass where the bugs were. And my brother and these kids would go out there, and they'd set the bugs on fire.
Anyway, so I beat them up.
Wait, I don't remember you actually beating them up.
No, I did beat one of them up, but it was after school because my house was right behind the school.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
like you could see that weird field. So one time, because they were all for some reason in still. I would be like, this is how it feels to be a bug, and I would just kick the shit out of them.
Oh my God.
That's not something that I would have done.
That should not be laughing at that.
No, you can laugh at that. That sounds like something I would have done.
Remember that there was like a house next to the school that there was like a weird opening at the building that you could go into and kids would like sneak into the yard?
Yes.
I remember there was like snakes there and I still had snake phobia, so one kid tried to pick up the snake from their yard and throw it at me.
Oh my God.
I'm still scared of snakes to this day, but I already was before that, but...
That yard was my landlord.
Ooh.
I'm not scared of snakes.
Mm-hmm. Dude.
I love snakes.
Mm-hmm. I remember... Dude, do we want to, like, which teachers... We can talk about... Our 3rd grade teacher was the only decent one. I really liked her, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we still talk to each other.
Oh my God, really? Aren't you guys family?
Yes, we are cousins.
Alright. She was, like, the best teacher. Like, she actually cared about me. which is
She
new.
definitely cared about kids, and she was clearly, like, in the job not to torture children, but to actually, like, teach people.
No, basically everyone else wanted to torture kids. Genuinely, I believe that.
And I remember I got in trouble in 4th grade because we were doing one of those about me's, and I put on my about me that I was related to me, and my 4th grade, or our 4th grade teacher got mad at me for lying.
You literally were, though.
And I wasn't lying, so I was like, go ask her. And so, of course, she went and asked, and the 3rd grade teacher was like, oh yeah, we're like second cousins, but that's like loosely. I was like, I told you.
Dude, okay, so the 4th and 5th, the 5th grade teacher was obviously final boss of the elementary school, but the 4th grade teacher was basically also awful in my opinion. She was awful.
Okay, in my opinion, I think the teachers that were the worst always had a kid that was in the class.
Yeah, oh my god, so, what should we call her? Let's call her, what's a name that starts with O that we can use, that isn't her name?
With O?
Yeah.
Just say Liv. Just say Liv.
Let's call her Liv.
Orbeez.
Yeah, so she sounds like the Liv and Maddie character now, and the Liv and Maddie character is iconic. But anyways, Liv was like one of the meanest kids at the school, I feel like. I mean, the guys were usually, she was like the second meanest girl. The girl that we said started with the B was the meanest.
Okay, but by that time, Ballerina had already left.
Yeah,
and Ballerina left because her dad was the principal. That's why she got away with all the shit that she did.
Oh my god. And no, so the school had very few people there, so there was definitely a bias towards the two girls that were, like, the other girl, I think that was the daughter of the 5th grade teacher. I felt like she was nice, but she was it seemed like she was a little bit trying harder to appear nice. Like,
okay, I'm gonna put it this way. I think that in school, like, she was very two-faced. In school, she'd be like, oh, you know, I hate you. Why don't you do all this stuff that's embarrassing? And then I'm going to use it against you for the rest of your life. But then out of school, she would go to my birthday party and tell me I was pretty and, like, want to hang out and walk to my grandpa's because we lived near each other.
mm-hmm.
Like, it was, like, weirdly...
Yeah.
To me, that sounds like someone who cares a lot about what people think. And you're probably considered as, like, an outcast person in school, and so she was like, I actually like you, you're really cool, but I don't want to be seemed like an outcast either.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I was the only person that was black in our class.
Yeah.
Was 1 year older, but he was the only other black kid in our school.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. And... yeah, it was definitely not a good situation to be in for, like, because I was very obviously in the community at that point, like, everyone could tell. So...
yeah, I definitely remember being like, are you sure you're not a girl?
And I was like, I'm sure, so shut the fuck up.
You get so mad at me. I'm like, no, I swear, I think you would be cool as a girl.
Okay, in fairness, I was mad because everyone else made fun of me for being a girl, so I kind of took it as the same thing. But... no,
I just thought you would be cooler as a girl.
And
you know
better.
what?
I am better as a girl.
Okay, I was gonna say, I think I was right.
Both of you. I'm saying this right now for both of you. I'm gonna be crocheting while we talk. I am still listening and I am still paying attention. It just helps me to actually pay attention a little bit more because it gives me something to do with my hands.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Alright.
One of my friends is like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm making, for anybody watching on the podcast who is curious on what I'm making, crochet-wise, I have a whole one already done, but I'm making the other side to a top for Pride Month. For Pride Parade, actually.
Okay, so, do you remember this, Reese? Like, do you remember the woman that... was she, like, the school resource officer? Or was she... like, she'd be the person that would, like, when we'd go in, she'd, like, have us line up before we were allowed to go to our classes when, like, the class
super tan but tall woman, but, like, super skinny.
Yeah, and she was old.
Yes.
Okay. I remember we walked in and everyone was upset and I was like, why? And apparently she started beating a kid with one of her, like, jackets items.
The fuck?
Do you remember that?
That's abuse!
I don't remember that, but I do think she was still in the school anyway.
Yeah, because nobody cared for some reason.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared at that school about anything that was wrong with the teachers. I don't think a single teacher ever got fired for anything.
No.
My dad tried to commission for our 5th grade teacher to get fired, but he wouldn't do it.
Get rid of
That's
one
true.
teacher.
That reminds me of the bitch teacher at our high school that we both hate.
Yeah.
Do you remember the PE teacher?
Him? The one from...
We got rid of him.
Wait, they did? Wait, the one from elementary
Yes.
or the one from 4th and 5th grade up?
4th and 5th grade up.
Oh my god, I remember, so he was literally one time went on a whole tangent in our class that if he saw a dog come into his yard, he'd shoot it.
What the fuck?
Do you not remember how he treated your brother for... I mean, sure, the jumping was annoying, but, like, come on, he's clearly not neurotypical.
Yeah, my brother had a thing about him not being neurotypical where he would always jump as a kid.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know that about your brother because, like nowadays, between you and your brother, like, if you were to, like, be in a situation with the two of you, because I am often... you would actually guess that you're more somewhere on the spectrum than he is.
I mean, I am more, but, like, as a kid, he would always jump.
Okay.
And that was about it. I didn't do anything, like, actually physical. Like, my part of the thing where I just wouldn't do anything physical. Like, I couldn't spit, and I would never point. So
I can't spit either.
Yeah, I still can't. But, oh my god, wait, why'd they get rid of him? Do you know the lore?
See, here's
I do.
I didn't mean that innocently, just so you know. It was a dirty joke I was making.
Oh.
You didn't understand it, though, did you?
No.
That's
I did. Don't worry, I got
Thank you. I was okay. What is the lore? Why did he get fired?
Do you remember the two girls that we were just talking about that their moms were teachers?
Yeah.
He was talking to them inappropriately.
The teachers or the girls?
Them. The girls.
See, that reminds me. Why is that the second? Okay, so this is something that Reese wouldn't know, and I don't think you would know because I went to an elementary school here in I almost slipped it where we live, here in our town. And when I was in, I think 7th or 8th grade, my parents came to me and they were like, "Hey, out of curiosity, did your gym teacher ever touch you inappropriately?" I was like, "No, why?" And he goes, "Because he just got fired for child stuff."
Oh my god. Remember when the principal would, in our middle school would, like, snap people's bras?
Yes.
Oh my, did he get fired for that?
No. My parents were the ones who reported it to the police because I was the one who told them about it.
Oh my god. Really? Okay, those girls were mean, but they didn't deserve to get GO.
No, they did not. And it wasn't, like, they were sexually harassed, technically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They weren't assaulted, but that doesn't make it any better.
Mm-hmm.
And
doesn't make it okay.
his teacher assistant guy also got in trouble for similar actions because of me. So, more lore.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we had the principal that Kat was bringing up. He was actually the vice principal at our school, and all the guys at our school loved him because he treated the guys so much. He was very, very sexist.
I hated him, even though I wasn't out yet. So
right. he treated the guys perfectly fine, but when it came to the girls, he was extremely misogynistic and sexist towards them. And he
disgusting.
Actually did used to come up behind the girls, and if he could see your bra straps, like for example, if you're wearing a tank top and your bra straps are out like this, he would come up behind you, tuck his finger under the strap like this, and snap it.
Oh my god.
He almost did it to me. He almost fucking did it to me.
But you
But
were
I moved out of it. I
badass.
moved out of his way, so he couldn't fucking grab my straps.
Oh.
Is this
good
a safe
point on
place to say I dislike men?
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay. I mean, we kind of have a right, considering the person with the D name that we're gonna get into later.
Oh my god. Like, that's the problem. Okay, I will admit to 25%, you get 25%, and he gets the other 50. Alright?
The other 50 for what?
The other 51. Sorry, Hamilton.
For why we weren't friends anymore.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. Because I remember, oh my god, so what I remember is I told you what happened to me at his sleepover, and then I'm pretty sure he told you something else. So you kind of had to decide who to believe in that moment.
Can we call him
Okay.
Davy Jones?
Yes! He was kind of like a pirate.
D names.
Mm-hmm.
I want to call him Demon.
That works too, but I feel like Davy Jones is more entertaining.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that when we get to it. Do we want to? Let's talk about the
Yeah.
teachers first. How about that?
Yeah, let's talk about teachers, and then we'll get into 3rd grade and how that worked.
Yeah, that was the only good year. I was like, 1 year of niceness.
Well, you know, that is also the year my mom died, so...
Okay, well, I low-key didn't remember that was that year. I'm sorry. It was.
Wow, Kat's sitting here remembering that as the best year of her life.
Oh my god. Listen.
No, it's okay, I get it, you hate me. Whatever.
What? No!
Oh my god.
It's okay, she hated me too at one point.
We talked about that in episode 2, which they watched.
I watched both of them, I watched all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna watch this one and be like, ew, I'm so cringy.
Oh my god. It'll be episode 5, you're lucky.
Yeah, we have one more before this.
But basically, want to go year by year to the years we shared together? We can start with 2nd grade year, because that year was weird.
Yeah.
Considering one of
Do
the
you
teachers...
remember the butterfly thing?
No.
Where we, it started in, early February. We got caterpillars.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was so sick.
And we watched the caterpillars turn into butterflies and then let them go.
I love
Do you remember that?
In my
Yeah,
high
I
school
remember that. That was awesome. So,
Okay, well, I did that twice. And I would just like to say the first one was way better than the second one because the second one, the birds started eating all of them.
oh my god.
Oof.
Okay. Oh my god. Do you also remember when you tried to convince the whole school in, 2nd, and then you did a sequel in 4th grade year when you tried to convince the whole school that we were haunted by a demon ghost?
No, we 100% were. I wasn't lying. Why did everyone still think I was lying?
Well, we were, but then I thought that I heard that you wrote fake notes to people so they'd believe it.
I never did that.
Okay, well, this is new information
No, that's
for me.
so... No, this is just so funny. What if the fake notes were actually, notes that someone else wrote?
Oh my god. Do you remember in 3rd grade when during the SBAC test or whatever it was called, I think it was called the MSP back then, like we were in mid-test and then you weren't allowed to leave the classroom or get up to sharpen your pencil without asking, and then randomly we turn over to the sharpener and it's going off with no pencil or anything in there. It was crazy.
Anyway, let's start with 2nd grade. Let's
Okay,
start with
yeah.
2nd grade.
So that was confusing because the teachers were... We had 2 teachers that year because we had a second half of it because the teacher was on, maternity leave.
Maternity leave for most of the school year.
Didn't she only come back, the last, 2 months?
Literally, so she was there for 4 months and then disappeared and then came back the last month of school.
So
She came back just in time for her to see the butterfly thing because that was her favorite activity.
Yeah. Okay, so remember when we had, a whodunit scenario? Because, there was a list of kids. So I remember what happened very vividly. So I remember I was sitting at lunch with the girls, You were eating a lunch with the guys. And then, so I thought these kids liked me because one of them my parents actually introduced us to because we were both homeschooled and we meet up. The kid who actually said this, right?
Yeah.
And, like, you were sitting there, right? And you were like, and one of the kids was like, I can't believe that my dead name is in our class. I hope she moved schools or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you told me what was said, and I was upset, so I told the teacher, and then the teacher thought you were lying for some reason, so she brought you up, and then you said it was true, and I believed you. So then we had a whole scenario in the classroom of who done it, where we were all sitting there, because you didn't remember who said it, you just remembered someone said it. And, like, what happened was, the kid was like, if you hate me, say I, and all of them raised their hand. So...
I do remember that. I also, okay, so I struggle, this is important, I struggle really bad with math.
Yeah.
I always have.
No, don't
But I'm really, really good at reading.
Same.
But it was second grade. Huh?
I was the opposite. I was really, really good at math, and I sucked at reading.
Yeah.
I was good at reading and bad at math, too, so...
Yeah, I hear it's, either one or the other, depending on how autistic you are. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
I'm not diagnosed. I'm highly certain I have autism. But I'm not diagnosed.
Oh my god. But, what happened with that specifically?
Okay, well, so the whole reason I was held back in the first place is because I had a, basically an entire... You remember, like, the work folders?
Yeah,
for, like, math and stuff?
I do.
My folder was this thick.
Because you were really behind because you struggled with math?
I was really behind, and no one would help me out. And then, so my mom thought it'd be a good idea to make me take it over again. And while I'm taking it over again, I'm like, I just remember these sheets. And so I was just answering the answers I already had from last year.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
But I was so good at reading. So the teacher had, like, books that we were supposed to be reading at, like, that level. And she's like... I need you to read this book and then find a word in it that you don't know. And I was like, I don't know what the word... I don't remember the word exactly, but it started with a B, and it was like a slightly long word, and I pretended I had no idea what it meant.
Binocular. Binoculars.
No, dude,
I don't know.
That was me. So for context, this was really weird. So I was held back in first grade because I didn't know how to read, because when I was homeschooled, my parents said that they couldn't teach me because I didn't want to.
Yeah.
So, but then they taught me how to read, right? And then in second grade, I was apparently really ahead on the reading level. Like, cause I was, like, reading Magic Treehouse and, like, starting Harry Potter by that point.
I liked Magic Treehouse.
Magic Treehouse was so good. And, like, I remember when I started reading Magic Treehouse, my special ed teacher was like, you can't read that. Your reading level isn't high enough. And I read it to her, and she was like, okay, you can read that. Like,
no, do you remember that you used to read Magic Treehouse to me?
Oh my god, I don't.
And, like, we would have basically a book club because I didn't want to read Magic Treehouse, but we both wanted to read Dork Diaries, and we both wanted to read, like, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And so we would just have, like, meetings under that one part of the playground.
Oh my god.
And we would just talk about our books that we were reading.
Yeah, that was so...
I was
nerds.
told that I wasn't allowed to read Diary of a Wimpy Kid because there were, like, pranks and other things in the books that my foster mom told me I wasn't allowed to do.
Okay, the point of the books is that Greg is a bad person. That's kind of the point.
Yes,
he's a
that is
person.
the whole point. Like, you're not supposed to feel any empathy for that man.
Yeah, you're supposed to dislike him. Like, and feel bad for the other side characters. The thing about... I read Dork Diaries,
The
and I
only
still
time
believe...
you feel bad for him is because of Roderick.
Yeah, and Roderick is actually... You feel bad for him because of his whole family, because his whole family sucks, but...
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You cannot convince me that Dork Diaries is not peak literature. Sure, the first book aged horribly with her talking.
Oh my god!
Like,
Yeah.
in the first book, she would say, she dropped the first book, she would say the R slur, and apparently, what's her name was, like, peak, and she would, and what's her name,
Mackenzie?
no, Mackenzie was mean. She would regularly reference the celebrity, Hillary Duff, because she was peak fame back then. Like, so...
I actually
You
did read
mean
Dork Diaries.
Nikki?
Yeah, Nikki would regularly mention Hillary Duff.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it was so good.
No.
My favorite book was low-key book, like, 9, where Mackenzie stole the diary.
My literal first book boyfriend was Brandon. Okay, I was in love with him.
Oh my god. I'm not gonna lie. The toxic part of me was like, I'm an outcast, so I want to be Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Like, but I was Nikki. Or maybe Chloe and Zoe, because they were also losers.
No. I think you were Nikki and I was Zoe, and Mackenzie was Liv.
No, yeah, Liv for sure. And then Jessica was the K girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on and if we're gonna go that way, that makes Brandon the B one that told me that I was Mexican when I wasn't.
Oh my god. Wait, did you go out? Did you... Oh, wait, what? Was he into me or something? What? No.
No. He was just
Was he
weirdly
like a
obsessed with you.
Oh my... I don't remember this!
Like, he would just, like, okay, and this might just be because I was less of an outsider than you, but more of an outsider than a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I was always, like, allowed to sit near them, but not with them. So I would just hear him talk so much shit about you all the time. And my brain's just like, why are you obsessed with them?
Yeah. Why are you so obsessed with me? Says what's her name in that one monologue I read for an audition by Regina George.
If we go by people that might have had a thing for you, then there wasn't
There wasn't
maybe
anyone.
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna be mean to you.
No, you were right. I was like, so... Okay, so my dad was convinced that the K girl had a crush on me for some reason. Like, the girl that was 5th grade teacher's daughter. He was convinced she had a crush on me, and that's why the 5th grade teacher hated me so much.
Okay, again, not to be mean, but I guarantee that is not the reason.
Yeah.
No, he was just ableist.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Year by year, telling our experiences.
But yeah, 2nd grade we met, and we were only at school friends in 2nd grade. We hadn't, like, met outside of school yet, had we?
I think we only met out of school a couple set times.
Yeah, and that was one time, or maybe 3 times during 3rd grade.
Yeah, you went to my house for a birthday, and you and the girl who... aren't they a trans guy now? I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Their name started with the N, and I remember you guys screamed, "You have a game room?"
I was so jealous of your house.
Our house was pretty big back then. This house is smaller, but...
No, it was
This house
huge.
is still pretty big, though.
It is big.
This house is bigger than my house.
Yeah.
No, and the worst part, it had, like, an old Victorian, like, vibe to it, but it was wooden.
Yeah.
It had nice wood floors, and there were, like, 7 stories.
It was like a wood house to the point where it was like logs house, kind of.
It was beautiful.
And
I was so mad that you lived there, and I
we had a
didn't.
barn, and we had like a long like pathway to get up there, and then we had a big field where like the cows would be, because I was a farmer kid. My only friends were the barn cats in the barn. Anyways, so, yeah, 2nd grade was very interesting.
It was very anticlimactic.
Yeah, no,
It was just
nothing
weird.
happened that year except that we became friends and like we would have a book club and we would like be outcasts and we would, and I'm pretty
And
sure.
I hated your brother. And I hated your brother. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I never liked your brother.
Yeah. I remember this. You might not remember this, but one time we walked into class holding hands and the teachers were very conservative, so they were like, you guys are too young to hold hands.
Oh my god, they all thought we were dating. It was weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
Friends.
I'm surprised your dad didn't think I liked you at that point.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm pretty sure you had like quote unquote been out with other people during that time.
No, but I did have a crush on this one guy.
Oh my god. Your hair flip, you're like Soda Lulu.
No, okay, the worst part is that I like thinking about it now, I don't think I ever actually liked him. I just think he was the most like acceptable crush to have.
You know, that's probably not wrong. None of the guys there were remotely acceptable people.
Because the actual crush I had was a girl, and that's not okay.
Yeah, that wasn't okay. That was horrible. Like, dude, okay. So remember the kid whose name started with a J who was really short throughout all of our school?
Yes, I do.
He started watching my YouTube videos and interacting for a couple.
You not be outside right now. Can you maybe not bother me then? Okay, thank you.
Alright, but basically what ended up happening, right, is he commented on one of my videos and this made me so mad. He was like, I'm sorry for bullying you in 6th grade, and then he ended it with kind of. The kind of pissed me off so much. My god.
Well, I remember we had like a little group because it was
Okay, it was me, you, the dude whose name started with an A and when he moved, and the guys whose name started with a D when he moved there. We were kind of like a squad of people.
Yeah, and the J name would bounce back and forth between us and the other group, and we also had the N name.
The person who was a girl and is now a guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were I like them. I have fond memories of them still.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. I have fond memories of a lot of our group, but I don't have a fond memory of everyone.
Yeah. D name I don't have many fond memories of. Okay, so
What?
So dude, that was 2nd grade. Nothing happened except one of the kids in my brother's quote-unquote fake gang, elementary school version of a gang, stole a duck toy from the dollar store, and he gave it to my brother, and my brother brought it home, and my dad made him bring it back to school.
Easy. Oh my god, do you remember when, okay, this was a me thing. I really liked the little bears that we used to count.
Oh
And so I stole one, and the teacher made me put it back.
Yeah.
Like she had like a weird amount, and she knew them by heart, so she would like count them like almost daily, and she was like, which one of you stole it?
Did you steal one like every day? Oh my god. This was 2nd grade, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god. Hold on. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about remembering something.
How about move on to the story about the person with the DM?
Okay. I want to talk about. Okay, let's talk about. We kind of have to talk about our 5th grade teacher though, because she played part of a role in him getting away with it. I feel like.
And I do think we have to talk about 3rd grade before we get there.
Okay, we can skip 4th grade because all it was is I thought the teacher didn't like me and I was sad. Like, she made me move a card because I forgot to finish my assignments before turning them in. The card system! Remember how bullshitty that was?
Oh my god, yeah.
Why did every teacher, even our 3rd grade one, have it? So what it was, Jackson, we're gonna explain what this was real quick. So, it was usually the same colors. So it would
Is
be
it like the red, yellow, green thing, and you have to put a specific card on your name? I had something similar, but it was clothespins.
So what ended up happening, right, is so there would be like a board in front of the whole class. So the whole class would know what you did. It was kind of like public shaming. So green card would be the one you would have by default at the start of the day. If you messed up once, you had to turn it to a yellow, which was a warning. If you messed up twice, you had to turn it to a blue card, which was a warning. And also, it was a thing where we would have like a reward system for good behavior like every couple months.
Okay.
Yeah.
You basically didn't get that. But our 4th grade teacher ignored this system multiple times. If she didn't like you or she was really upset with you, she'd change her mind. She'd say, I don't like you, so one card, the system that the school put out doesn't matter to me, basically. So
I also remember that each teacher did this, but if you were green for like, it depended on the age, but if you were green at like the end of the week, you would get a candy.
Oh my god.
And so I would be really upset anytime that I got to a yellow, because she would always do it right before I would get my candy.
Oh my god, so 1st grade, I turned one every single day. I turned a card every single day because I joined like last 2 months and the teacher didn't sit me down and explain the rules, so I would always be shocked that a rule was broken. 2nd grade, I think I only got in trouble like twice.
Yeah.
In 3rd grade, it was in 3rd grade, it was only once. In 4th and 5th grade, it was a fair bit of times just because the teachers didn't like me and I didn't like them, so I was kind of petty as a kid.
Yeah.
And then 6th grade, it was only once.
We're moving too slow and we're gonna get cut off.
Jackson's gonna cut us off. Okay. Yeah, I'm zoning out. I apologize. I am zoning out, but that's just because I feel like I don't have there's nothing I can really say in this conversation, so I'm just sitting here listening.
Yeah, I mean, you can add information of what you kind of understand and about and have had.
There's not a whole lot though. I get it.
Okay.
I've heard some of this stuff.
So 3rd grade was my favorite teacher. Well, other than the band teacher. But the band teacher and the 3rd grade teacher were my favorites.
Yeah.
So at the start of the year is when I was allowed to go to your house.
Mm-hmm.
And I just
was like 40 minutes away. I lived in the middle of nowhere, so it wasn't very often, but
yeah, I remember that I was allowed to go to your house, but I wasn't allowed to sleep over anywhere yet.
Yeah.
So, and then my mom passed, and I remember, and it was weird. So I didn't know why until we talked about this last night.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why does all of a sudden Kat hate me?
And I didn't hate you. Okay, this is kind of where I kind of feel really bad. It was elementary school me. So I was jealous, not in a way. Now, let me explain why, because Jackson's gonna be like, what the fuck? I was jealous because my mom had an illness for 3 years. And in 3rd grade is when I wanted everyone to know I was suffering because they were all mean to me. 4th grade, it completely shifted when it actually happened. But in 3rd grade, before it happened, I was like, I want everyone to know I'm suffering and they're treating a suffering person like shit. So when it happened to you, the fucked up part of me was like, well, now they won't care when it happens to me because I knew it was going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I can understand. I can understand from a psychology level of it's the fact that, okay, to put it into more basic term, I guess, is that you went through something that Reese went through something that was really hard for you, and Kat was already experiencing knowing that her mom was going to be going soon as well.
No, it was a sudden versus expecting kind of thing, which we did talk about last night. Yeah. I was like, I totally see your point of view. Now thinking back on it, but at the time, I was just like, why does Kat all of a sudden hate me?
Right.
Kat wouldn't talk to me. Kat stopped looking in my direction. But then we watched this movie in class, and it's called The Velveteen Rabbit. And in this movie, the kid is like sick, really, really sick. And you can just feel like basically he's gonna pass away and you just know it. And there's like other things involved and he doesn't have a mom. And I just started bawling my eyeballs out because, you know, moms.
Mm-hmm.
And so the third grade teacher was like, do you want to sit out the movie? So I went out in the hall and I just sat next to the door. Well, eventually Kat came out with me and was like, I have dolls if you want to play dolls with me.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was like, why are you crying when I'm crying? Because I didn't know that you're, like, I think you told me, but I don't think my brain registered that.
Yeah. I didn't tell many people, but I wanted everyone to know. It was a weird psychological thing where I didn't want everyone to know, but because everyone knew, because no one knew I was going through the same thing, I was upset.
Yeah. Right. I just remember being like, why are you out here? Like, you don't even have any reason to cry. And I think that's when you told me what was going on. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This makes sense now. Like, I thought you were, at the time, didn't know that you were jealous, but I thought you were avoiding me because you, I guess, you were already going through that kind of thing, and you didn't want my pain on top of it.
No, I wanted to be there for you, but I also was like, kind of like, wow, well now everyone's gonna be done and not want to have any empathy from me, you know, when it happens to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just remember having a lot of fun playing dolls with you.
Yeah.
Like, the teacher eventually, after the movie was done, came out and was like, okay, you guys can come back in. And I was like, do we have to?
Kids in a nutshell. Like...
And she was like, yeah, and it was like the end of school anyway, so it's not like we would have had a lot of time to continue playing. I just remember having a lot of fun, and like, it was the first time that I'd felt okay since my mom actually.
And so one time during that year, I was acting out heavily, and the teacher knew I never did this. Like, I'd only gotten in trouble, like, one time. So she pulled me into the hall, right? And this is when I actually kind of got jealous again. She pulled me, and this actually might have happened before, and I was jealous because of it. Because my mom had got hospitalized because of her illness for a few days, and I told the teacher this. And the teacher was like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm gonna do the same thing I'm doing with you. Like, what? Because apparently she was giving you, like, special treatment, she said, or something. Well, not special treatment.
I was definitely getting a certain kind of treatment where I was just allowed to go up into the hall whenever I was really sad.
Yeah, and she kind of started giving me that too. And from the kids' perspective, they were all kind of didn't know what was happening, so they were like, ugh, why did she get special treatment? She did nothing to deserve it, like, or whatever. Yeah,
like, I also remember being jealous and like, why, well, before you told me, I was like, you don't even deserve this. Like, I have a dead mom.
Yeah, because no one knew what happened. Like, I was never supposed to attend public school. I was gonna be homeschooled my whole life, but actually.
Yeah.
But, and then in 4th grade, I remember it happened. And here's the thing. I don't know if you wanted the counselor to tell the whole class it happened to you or not. Did you want to keep it to yourself?
I wasn't there for a week.
Yeah, you weren't there for a while.
After what happened with my mom, I just didn't go to school. Yeah. And I guess in that time, and also it was a really small town, so everyone just kind of knew already.
Yeah.
And I remember the teachers being at my mom's funeral, and I was pissed off that they were there. I was like, why are you guys in school teaching other children? Get away from me.
Yeah, and so what happened in 4th grade year is me and my brother handled the loss very differently when it happened. So I had spent so much time crying up until it happened, but my brother, like, didn't cry because he didn't understand what was going on until she passed. So when it happened, my brother was crying, and I had no reaction for, like, a year. Right?
Yeah.
So we go to... And we go to school the next day, because my dad wanted us to push through.
I do remember you going to school the next day, and I was like, why didn't you just stay home?
My dad didn't want us to stay home, to be blunt. And what happened is, like, my brother started telling all the kids. I remember you coming up to me when I was, like, playing tetherball and probably losing, realistically losing really bad, as I always did. I never won anything as a kid.
No, so you like tetherball, and I just watched you play it all the time, and I hated it.
Yeah, I was obsessed. And I really wanted to win one time, and I never did. But anyways.
I remember in one of our fights, when we were still friends, but, like, we would fight constantly.
Yeah.
I remember that, we were doing separate things. Like, they had, like, a Foursquare thing where each thing had a number, and you had, like, this giant dodgeball, and you would pass it to each other by bouncing it in the other person's square. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that while you were playing tetherball, but every once in a while, I would just reach my hand out while you were playing tetherball and spin it the other way.
Oh my god. The pettiness of children. That's the pettiest thing I can think of.
I'll tell you something, I'm still that petty. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But anyways, what ended up happening, right, is I remember you walked up to me and you were like, I heard what happened. I'm sorry you're going through the same thing. And I laughed and was like, shh, don't say anything. Because I wanted no one to know, right? Or no. Yeah. And then the teacher, like, pulled me out of class and pulled my brother out. And then they were, like, the counselors telling the students what happened. I was like, but I don't want them to tell the students. I didn't give permission. And the teacher was like, well, it's best if they tell them. It really was.
I don't understand why any teacher or, like, I don't understand why schools do that. Like, it's really none of the other students' like business. If you want to tell the other teachers what's going on, that's fine.
Okay, so I think they do that specifically because Kat was bullied a lot, and I think that they were gonna use this as they can't bully you if your mom's dead, you know? Like...
But that just gave them a new ammunition. I'm gonna be blunt.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. I remember, do you remember the T name? He was a grade above us, but he would have been in our class. He was short and had red hair, like poofy red hair.
A little bit, but not well.
Okay, well, I remember after my mom had passed, I was in the gym because we all had gym together, and for some unknown reason, I started crying because I missed my mom, and the T name, like, went around telling people that I was crying, but he was imitating and mocking me. He'd be like, this is what Ari does, and this is what Reese does when they miss their mom, and he would be like, wait. Yeah.
Oh my god, fuck that.
He was awful, and I remember, like, nobody was telling him that he wasn't supposed to do that until I talked to the third grade teacher, and I was like, this guy is straight up bullying me for having a dead mom, and she got so mad.
Mm-hmm. And here's
it's also like her cousin, like, you know, kind of thing. So she was like angry and had like pulled him and me out to the side and started yelling at him. And this is like the first time I've ever seen her mad.
Yeah. And here's the thing, she's very protective of people. That's the only time she'd get mad.
Yeah.
She was the only teacher that gave a fuck when people were getting harassed. Like, every other teacher was like toughen up. She was like, I'm gonna fight this kid. Like,
yeah.
So
yeah.
What ended up happening, right? And when that happened to me, people would regularly say stuff to me. Like, when they found out. Like, at first, the first day, they were all really kind to me about it. One day, I got 1 day of kindness out of it. After that, though, I wish they never told anyone. Because the kids would regularly say, because the kids either didn't know how cancer worked, or they somehow knew about my birth mother and were purposely connecting the two. But what
I think they were losing your birth mother with your adopted mother. I think that's what was happening.
Yeah, and they would regularly say, well, it's your mom's own fault she died. And I'd be like, what do you mean? And they'd be like, well, she got cancer, so she would have had to do some kind of drugs to get cancer. Like,
wow.
That's not how that works.
No,
Yeah, that's not how that works. That's, like,
No.
not
And then
the
the counselor, it wasn't the counselor. It was someone similar to the counselor, but like for children, like a guidance counselor instead of like a regular counselor.
Yeah.
And like she pulled me out of class and she went, "So you and Kat have something in common, and I'm gonna need you to like kind of put your feelings aside right now and kind of be there for Kat."
That, when I
Like,
didn't know that happened at the time, but knowing that now,
like,
if it was reversed, I would have been pissed in your shoes.
No, I was so mad. I was like, so Kat's mom dies and I have to be responsible for that?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I don't know why the
it was-
counselor couldn't be responsible for that. I know why, because they fucking hated me. But anyway, because I remember one time, like, I was crying because D-Name was saying mean things to me because we had a big fight and falling out because I told kids what he did to me at the sleepover, and he was being mean to me about it, right? And so we got pulled into the counselor's office, and the teacher was like, "Here, say all the mean things you did." He said all the mean, horrific things he said to me. And then he asked what and then the counselor asked what I said, and I told her that I just told him to shut up. Apparently that's horrible, and telling a kid he's bullying you to shut up is evil, because the teacher started yelling about me about how saying shut up is really cruel, and that people have that people have freedom of speech. So, like...
Which isn't how that works.
Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, 4th grade was crazy. Now we get to 5th grade, where we both the teacher hated us because we were autistic.
The teacher hated us. But I did have, like, a great payback for that, which I told you about last night. I don't know. We were doing, like, state testing, and you're not allowed to get up. You're not allowed to go to the bathroom. You're just not allowed to move except for a certain amount, like a certain time. And I had been feeling sick that day in the first place, and I had to go to school anyway because my aunt thought I was faking it. And so I went to school, and I was and like I felt like I was gonna throw up. And so I like held my hand up, and she refused to come over to me. I just held my hand up the whole time, and she was just like, she would look over at me, roll her eyes, and then go back to what she was doing on her desk. And
sounds like her.
At one point, at the time she finally stood up, I just opened my mouth and threw up on the computer.
Was that, like, purposeful? Did you, like, purposely wait for her to see it?
I do think, like, I was being petty because I was gonna try and get to the trash can or the restroom before I threw up. But she wasn't calling on me, and I was just like, I can't hold this anymore. This is disgusting, and it just...
Yeah. Do we want to talk about specifics of what she did? Oh my god, you remember when she got mad at you for crying and screamed at you to go into the hallway?
Yes, I do. I do remember this. Okay, so she was one of the teachers that was at my mom's funeral, by the way.
Oh my god, so she knew.
She knew. She didn't care because she thought it's been 2 years, like, I guess I should just be over it. It was literally her anniversary. And the teacher was yelling at me because I started crying because we were reading Wonder, and I remember this. We were reading Wonder, and a part of it, like, really hit me hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's Via's grandmother had passed, and that was, like, the only person that I cared about Via, and not August. And I remember being like, oh my god, I miss my mom. And she was yelling at me, and she was like, stop crying or go into the hall. You are disrupting my class.
Fuck her.
Yeah.
I genuinely hate teachers like that.
Yeah, and like, and
she would publicly mock us for, like, our handwriting, and she would publicly mock us for, like, reading. And she told me, because I was reading, like, a middle school grade book, and she told me that I wasn't smart enough to be reading that book, and she made me stop reading it.
Oh my god. So, I had similar stuff. So the school had this rule where if I was sad about my mom from 4th grade onwards, I could go talk to my special ed teacher and go to her classroom to, like, cry and chill out. when I got to that year, she refused to let me go, and I kept begging her to let me go because I was like emotionally gonna lose it, right? And the teacher told me straight up that she thought that I was begging for sympathy to get out of class. So, yeah, she has no empathy for anyone.
And I also remember that was the same year that my brother, like, publicly got outed as a sex offender.
Oh, what?
He sexually assaulted me for like 3 years because my mom passed away and he didn't know how to deal with puberty. And so he thought that was a good idea. And then I told my counselor, and my counselor called the police, and then I just left school for the day.
God. Hope you realize I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm shocked. So.
No, I don't worry. I was not thinking you were thinking it was funny.
Yeah. I laugh when I like don't know how else to handle emotional shock. So.
And I was taken out of school for like 3 days because of that happening, and I had to go to like 7 different like sheriffs, and they were like, well, do you want me to take you away? And it was just like a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So I think that played a lot in my emotions at the time as well. I remember I thought that I was going through more than you, so I felt like I should be getting more sympathy than you, and I didn't feel like I was.
To be fair, it sounds like you kind of were going through more, but
we don't do that. We don't put other people's traumas above other people's traumas. We're not. This isn't the Olympics. We're not doing the trauma Olympics here. You have every right to feel how you were feeling. Yeah. I was wrong. I'm just saying, 5th grade me thought you were a bitch.
Oh my god.
I mean, hey, in your defense, I think it was 8th grade me thought that Kat was a bitch too, so.
Yeah.
No, because every time I would start crying, Kat would start crying. And I was like, why the fuck is Kat crying now? Like, because I was the one that was told that I had to go be there for them. So after I stopped crying, I'd be like, what's wrong? What's happening? And like, nobody would help me out. The teachers didn't care. And it was just like 5th grade me taking care of 5th grade Kat.
The reason I started crying is because you were like one of the first people other than family I actually cared about, and we had like a similar experience, right? So whenever you would start crying, I didn't know how to handle seeing you cry. And back then I was, and I still kind of am, but not as bad, I was like you know how they have sympathetic vomiters who like vomit when other people vomit?
Yeah.
Back then I was a sympathetic crier who would cry when someone else cried. Like, it wasn't on purpose. It just kind of happened, you know? Yeah. Oh, my God. So, also, that year, I had surgery on my ear, and I had complications, so I was out of school for, like, a month, right?
That, too. I remember the ear thing.
And then I came back to school, and then the teacher was like, why did you leave school for a month? Did you go on a vacation or something? What the fuck is wrong with you? Now you're way behind.
I hate teachers.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know what? Here's the thing. There are a lot of good teachers out there that do amazing things for their students by teaching them things that they need to learn in order to be decent human beings in life, to protecting them with what's going on with ICE and other things that are threatening students all over America. However, there are a lot of fucking teachers that need to be defunded.
Yeah, no, I remember that Kat wanted to be a teacher because of our 3rd grade teacher.
I still kind of do,
like,
not gonna lie.
I wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah.
I still kind of do, but
like,
I don't want to go to school for it.
Neither do I.
Yeah, I was like, I want to be a teacher. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. But like, you know, I was a bitch. So I was like, are you smart enough for that?
I wanted to be a drama teacher specifically.
Dude, I would love to be a drama teacher. I want to be a drama teacher, but now I kind of want to do elementary school and just like do theater stuff in class. But yeah.
I remember that I was honestly kind of a shitty person to Kat because, you know, everyone was like putting their cat's emotions on me, and I just didn't feel like it was fair, and I didn't like Kat because of it. And I was like, Kat, I'm gonna talk shit about you. But I didn't do it behind your back. I would only do it to you.
Yeah, you would say mean things to me that I remember. But anyways.
And then I don't remember saying like what exactly I would say. I remember saying that you were gay at one point, and that was messed up with me. And shut up.
That didn't age well.
And I remember telling you that you were ugly, but
perfectly.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, "Are you sure you're not a girl?" But I swear, I was just like, "I think it'd just be cooler if you were a girl."
Yeah.
I mean, when I first met Kat, right? And the first time I came over to her house, I walk into her room and I just kind of looked around and I was like, "Why do you have a bunch of girl stuff?"
Yeah.
So, everyone knew. Everyone knew.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to remember. So 5th grade teacher, dude, so I had a fine motor disorder. I think I talked to you about this yesterday. Reese.
Yeah.
I had a fine motor disorder. And one time we were doing this thing where, like, you had to write, like, your opinion on yes or no on, like, should this happen? I don't remember what it was, but we had to write it on an incredibly small piece of paper. And I asked for a bigger paper, and she was like, toughen up. Toughen up. And I was like, okay then. And we wrote on the paper, right? Like, yes or no, like, should this happen? Like, should kids be allowed to do this? It was like something about having, like, technology in class, I'm pretty sure. And I put my answer, right? And I went through all the yeses, and I'd put yes because I wanted technology because it would help with my accommodations. And she goes through all the yeses, doesn't read mine. I'm really confused. She goes through all the no's. Like 3 no's from the end. She pulls out mine. She's like, here's the one by my dead name. She was like, wait, is this a yes? And I'm like, what? And then she starts like being like, I can't read this. You're such a disrespectful student. And then she starts yelling. And then she starts yelling at me in front of the whole class that my handwriting's horrible and that means I'm a bad person or something. Like,
yeah, she would get mad at you for using your pencil grippers the way that you were taught to use your pencil grippers.
yeah.
I'll go grab you another one.
Okay.
I'll be right back. I'll still be able to hear since these will still be connected to my, I'm gonna bring my phone with me, so I'll still be able to hear you. What?
Can I have one? Can I have one through, like, technology?
just like, yeah, I'm gonna go grab myself another water as well, so I'll be right back.
Alright, should we keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like, she would regularly...
I can actually talk.
Both of us.
Downstairs.
Like,
Okay.
I'll turn my mic on.
Do it. No.
like, she would just publicly humiliate us any chance she got.
Yeah.
And I think both against each other because she would tell me, like, she'd be like, are you sure you want to, like, write like this? Like, you write like Cat. And I'd be like, oh, I don't want to write like Cat because you publicly humiliate Cat. And... yeah, it was just a lot. And I remember, like, because you were better at reading than I was, and I knew that. And she would use that against me, too, and be like, really? You're stupider than Kat? And, like, I was struggling with math a lot, and she'd be like, really? Kat can't even do this. So it was just, like, one of those things where she would just constantly put me against you.
Yeah, and that's kind of disrespectful to me, too, because what do you mean I am the definition of what stupid is?
I know, that teacher was awful. I just remember I was like, I had to cater to your feelings, but I also had to, like, not be you, and it was just...
Yeah, like, one time, okay, so, do we want to get into the D name now, because she plays into this?
Yes, he does play into a lot of our 18-year-old
he got introduced in 4th grade. He moved to our school, right? And I remember on the first day he came, you and him hated each other. Like, he caught, like, you... Yeah?
Off topic. But just so you know, when I came out of your room, you know that room in your house that I don't like?
The one that you think is haunted?
The door's open.
Oh, God. No.
I don't know who the fuck opened that door.
No.
Can we talk about the ghost too? Because
the door's open.
It's really important to me.
Yeah, well, how about we talk about the positive stuff at the end so we can leave off? Because that I would say was fun.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening, right, is, right, where was I?
We were talking about D-Name and how I hated him.
So, yeah, and I remember what happened is the students would, he had this journal that he was writing in about how much he was upset with you saying not nice things to him, apparently.
You can see my camera. I just think it's funny.
Yeah. He was saying, you were allegedly saying not nice things to him, right? And so he wrote this in his journal, right? And then the teacher, 4th grade teacher, looks over and she's like, what are you writing in? And he covers it up. He's like, this is my private diary. And she's like, well, I'm a teacher, so I have to see this. And she looks at it, she pulls you and him out of class, and then I remember you guys coming back in, and after that meeting you were like instant besties. I don't know what the fuck happened, but
okay, I can tell you what happened. So yeah. I didn't like because I thought that he was too grumpy.
He did have anger management issues. One time he threw a chair at me in gym. So
he threw so
did that to me.
Yeah.
He threw so many things, and he got in so much trouble for so often.
He got suspended multiple times, actually.
Yeah, and I hated him. I was like, why are you always suspended? You seem like a bad person, and I do not want to be friends with you. And he had a crush on me, and he had a crush on K-Name, and it was really obnoxious, and I knew about it. And I was like, well, my cousin is this person's cousin, which makes you my cousin because you're cousins with them. So I cousin zoned the shit out of him. And that's how we became best friends.
Yeah. And by the way, I was really petty to this dude in 6th grade because no one took my side of what happened to me, and he was like still getting away with being mean to me. So I told K-Name that he had a crush on her for like 2 years.
I remember that because K-Name asked me about it on the way home from school one day because it was me, K-Name, and D-Name, and I was in the center of it, and they were like, so you like me? And he was like, well, I might as well take my shot, and asked her out, and he got hardcore rejected. He's like, actually, no. And I just remember being mortified for both of them.
Whoopsies, drama stir over here.
And then because I was on the way to my grandparents, which meant I had to walk with the whole way home. And so K-Name was like, so did you know? And I was like, yeah, clearly, like, everyone knew except for you. And they were like, do you know anyone else who likes me? And I was like, yeah, J-Name likes you. Short J-Name likes you. Tall J-Name likes you. J-Name likes you. Because again, I would be able to sit next to them, but I wasn't allowed to sit in their circles. So they just forgot that I was there and would just talk about their crushes around me.
Yeah.
And I just remember shouting so much tea. I was like, yeah, these are the people that like you. Anyway, bye.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, so anyway, what ended up happening is 4th grade happens, 5th grade year, this other dude moves there, right?
But like, I love him.
Yeah, I don't remember much about him. I just remember I hated everyone who didn't take my side. But anyways, so him and I became friends, and we would like do sleepovers regularly, and he would come over to our farm quite regularly and like play with the horses and like the goats and stuff. And the llamas and stuff. So.
Didn't A-Name and other D-Name that has the same name as your brother and my brother come at the same time?
The person with the D-Name was one of the worst people. He was so mean. But anyways.
He used to tell me that it was my fault that my mom died.
Oh my god. He said something similar to me too. That's why I'm laughing.
Okay, wait, I have a genuine question. Wait, I have a genuine question because I don't think it was mentioned.
Okay.
Am I allowed to ask how your mom passed?
Oh, she died in a car accident.
Okay, cool. That's not cool. I mean,
no, I get it. No, so
thank you.
There's more depth to this conversation that I would like to have right now. Okay, because the news told everyone that my mom was speeding and that's how she died. And actually, she slipped on black ice and that's how she died. So I had to tell everyone in school, but no, the news is lying about what happened.
Yeah.
Nobody believed me. So I just remember everyone being like, well, it's your mom's fault, she was speeding, she shouldn't have been speeding. And I was
were they just convinced that both of our moms did it to themselves? Like,
here's a genuine question though. For all we know, she could have actually been speeding and then slipped on the black ice.
I know she wasn't, because in the report she was going under the speed limit.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It was literally a conservative news source, right. And they just wanted my mom to be a bad guy because the person that she hit while slipping on ice was pregnant at the time.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
But my mom died on impact and that woman was still alive, and I hated that woman. I hated her so much until one time she reached out to my family and told me that she named her baby after my mom.
Sorry.
I don't know if that's sweet or insulting.
I don't know if it's sweet. I don't know if she's crazy. I don't know, but I do remember I stopped hating her.
Here's the thing. I think that person was taking, naming their child or naming her child after your mom was probably a way of saying, I probably should have been paying attention a little bit more as well. And that maybe if there was something, maybe she felt a little guilty about what happened. Yeah, I wish I could have done something to help.
Yeah, sorry for laughing. Okay. I'm just shocked.
It's
what?
Good. You're okay.
No, so the way that I thought about it as a kid, I was like, well, maybe she's been guilty this whole, she's been feeling guilty this whole time while I'm just hating her.
Can I fix your bangs?
Sure.
Sorry, I'm being a little OCD about her bangs.
Yeah.
But no, I just remember being like, oh, this woman has also been through kind of a hard time because of my mom passing, and I'm just hating this woman. So I stopped hating her.
But yeah, those people were the worst, for saying it was our mom's fault. But what ended up happening, right, is I would sleep over at this house regularly. So they were starting to have sex ed 4th or 5th grade year, and everyone else's family explained it to them. But whenever I asked my dad.
Not mine.
Yeah, mine didn't either. And so whenever they'd have sex ed, and my mom and dad, or my mom was gone by that point, it was 5th grade, but my dad, I would be like, and I've asked him recently, why didn't you explain it to me? Every other kid I was explaining to him, he was like, you weren't ready for it to be explained to. I don't know what that means, but.
Oh, it just means, I know why he was saying that. Mm-hmm. That's a huge stereotype within autism. My parents did it for me as well, but mine was because of my trauma with being in the foster system. Mm-hmm. They were probably saying that, or he was probably saying that in the way of saying, you don't have the mental capacity in order to handle knowing what sex education is.
Yeah. But I got it explained to me at school regardless, but I still didn't understand it, and I slept over at this kid's house, and this is what happened to me. It's not as bad as how it might have been implied, I'll admit, but what ended up happening, right, is we were both in 5th grade, we were sleeping over, and I'm like, hey, and he randomly was like, hey, do you want me to explain to you what sex is? And I was like, okay. And because everyone, whenever I would ask them what it was, would just be like, this is what it is, and wouldn't give me detail.
Was this kid fruity at all? Curiosity?
I think so.
Because this was before you transitioned.
Yeah, exactly.
And even if everybody can tell that you were a girl.
Say something, please.
Yeah,
He's the most homophobic person I've ever met in my life, and
Yeah. No.
See, here's the thing, though. Every homophobic here... Okay, I'm gonna get some hate on this for some of our viewers, most likely. But, every homophobic guy has a little bit of fruity intentions.
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. One of my favorite YouTubers has a song that she plays in her videos whenever she finds out homophobic people are gay. And it's like, if you're homophobic, you're probably gay. And she like firmly has this belief and like that she thinks is backed by science that homophobic people are probably just gay.
I think that a lot of homophobic people probably, there are a lot of them that it's internalized homophobia because for themselves they're like, oh, I can't be gay because I've been taught by other people in my past that being gay is wrong.
And I also want to point out that most homophobic people are also sexist, which has a lot of contents of being gay too, because a lot of gay people just hate women.
Right.
Yeah. So what ends up happening, right? He explains it to me, and then he's like, hey, out of curiosity, would you like to, like, practice?
Okay, there's no fucking way that kid wasn't fruity. I don't care if you say he's homophobic. He's got some fruity intentions.
Yeah, exactly. No, he says this,
I'm
right?
not, no,
and then I say no.
The worst part, no, Jackson, you don't understand. The worst part, I never knew these sleepovers happened. I'm this guy's best friend. I'm not allowed to go over to his to his house for that long anyway. But like, I'm this dude's best friend. I don't know that he even has even likes Kat because all he does is talk shit.
Right.
So,
well,
it was just
a huge. I don't know if you were ever told this as a kid, but I definitely was. If the boys are mean to you, it means that they like you.
Yeah.
But what ended up
I
happening,
was definitely told that.
And I told him no. But he kept pleading with me, and I got really uncomfortable. He was like, please, 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 can we just practice? And I was like, no, I don't want to. And he kept pleading, and then I changed the subject, and I changed No, and I changed the subject, and I was like, okay, you want to play Left 4 Dead 2? It's on your Xbox. And he was like, sure, but can we do it after? And I was like, fuck no. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to bed. I went to bed. I woke up the next day. He was just there, just vibing. I don't know. But anyways.
What do you mean vibing?
I don't know. He was just sitting there.
Like watching you sleep?
Yeah, exactly.
He wasn't just sitting there.
Like, to that point, I genuinely wonder nowadays if I was like...
Kat, he wasn't just sitting there.
Kat, I'm gonna
say this.
I'm gonna tell you something that I don't think your brain has comprehended yet. And I think Jackson knows exactly what I'm talking about right now. That man absolutely was meat beating. Okay?
Do you know what that means? Do you understand?
Okay.
Is that like SA or no?
Oh my god, hold on, let me go off camera for this.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Yeah! To you! Sleeping!
But yeah, I woke up and I was like, why the fuck are you just sitting there? I thought you were gonna sleep. And he was like, oh, I don't sleep at night. And then I went to school the next day, and I thought this was the weirdest, most funniest, but also very uncomfortable shit ever. And he was not there that day, so, and I don't know if you were there either, but I told every single kid what he did. Because I was petty.
I wasn't there. No, I wasn't there, and he wasn't there. I do remember the day after that, though, he came to school and started telling everyone that you tried to kiss him.
Yeah, which never happened, by the way.
No. Now that I know your story, like, now, I don't even think you ever told me this happened.
I didn't know this either. This was the first thing I'm hearing of
Yeah, because you weren't fucking there, so I didn't tell you.
Yeah, like, I don't ever remember hearing this story, but I do remember, like, D-Name being like, yeah, guys, this happened, and he was, like, really adamant about the fact that you were trying to kiss him, and that you peed sitting down, and for some reason that made you gay.
Yeah.
And all
that does. I mean, no, I'm kidding.
Listen, I just didn't like urinals. They're fucking disgusting.
They are.
No, and I was just like, why do you know Kat's bathroom habits, like, in my head?
Yeah.
I was like, why do you know that they use the stalls, and why is that a problem for you? Like, what if they're just taking a shit? Like, this is just, type shit.
Okay. I blocked this out of my memory, but then my dad told me it happened. It might have been him that did this, actually. I don't remember who did this. My dad doesn't remember. So one time, I was in the stall, pissing, like, shitting, from minding my own business. My dad told me that this traumatized me, and this is why I hate public bathrooms. I didn't remember why I hated them. I just thought I was uncomfortable. For some reason, I was in there and a kid looks under the stall. Is what happened.
I can tell you who that was.
Was it D-Name?
No, it was a younger kid. Mm-hmm. But this kid had a problem with going into the bathroom and just looking under the stalls, and it was so bad he got suspended for it.
Yeah, no, he started making fun of what I look like naked and the way I, use the bathroom, so it was, like, not great.
That might have been other D-Names.
Yeah.
I remember there was one kid that would just look under the bathroom stalls, like, religiously. He was, like, 3rd grade.
The way you said religiously?
No, for a long time, we would go around school, like, weren't we, like, Satanists for a little bit because our moms died? And, like, wouldn't we go around telling kids, because it was a Christian town, we were like, God took our mom away, so God should die, or something?
I was not a Satanist. I wouldn't say that. I just hated God, and I was like, I didn't think he existed. I was like, if he existed, then why did he take my mom away? And
yeah,
and before this happened, let me tell you something. This is a different traumatic event for me. So I was talking to my church pastor about, like, some of the ways that I was dealing with my mom dying. And I told her that there was a window that my mom was using to watch me. And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, the stars are windows from heaven. And she was like, no, they're not. And I was like, yes, they are. You see that red star right there? That is my mom. And you know how I know this? Because I did not see that star until my mom passed away. And the night that she passed away, I looked up into the sky, and that bright red star was just watching me. And I told her that was my mom. Yeah. And she was like, that's not how that works. Have you ever read your Bible before? And I was like, okay, I hate Jesus.
So here's the thing. The one thing, I won't deep dive into religion, but one thing I want to talk about is the fact that how we perceive the afterlife is different for each person. And I used to believe that the stars were a version of a window to heaven or whatever, or the afterlife. And that is actually
person. Sorry.
I believe that, like, I'm pretty sure that's actually a Greek teaching. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is a Greek teaching, that you become the stars after you pass.
Yeah.
Well, and I had in my head, I was like, I have scientific proof this is true. Because you know how, like, when people try to go to the stars, they die? Well, what if that's just because they're going into heaven? Like, you can't come back from heaven. Everyone knows that already. And I was like, well, and the sun is obviously God. Like, that's why he's always seeing us, is because the sun is always here. And they were, and she was just like looking at me like I was crazy.
And with that logic, hold on, I would actually argue with that logic that actually God would be the moon then, because the moon is always in the sky whether we see it. However, the sun, when it sets at night, we can't see it.
No, but God always sees us. That's like the whole thing.
Not if we're on the opposite side of the sun.
They're looking at the daytime people when we're sleeping.
We're just talking another episode. Just being real. Okay, but yeah, and like I'm pretty sure because everyone had the belief that like I was quote unquote a gay person, which is aged perfectly, but so they all
say quote unquote.
But that's aged, but because they were all homophobic too, and they thought, oh, that's what she was doing. She was forcing herself on him because she's gay. So they all believed him. Yeah. And then in the principal's office, because we got sent there, and we're all in the principal's office, he asked for both of our sides. We tell both of our sides. The school was homophobic too, so they didn't believe me, and they were like, you should apologize for doing that and then humiliating them. And I was like, I'm not going to apologize for the truth. And they're like, nope, you're lying, apologize. And I just caved eventually. I was like, I'm sorry. But in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm sorry for telling the truth, bitch ass.
So again, I was still not aware of anyone else's side except for D-Names. And so I was just like, why would Kat try and do that? Like, That doesn't seem very cat-like. Because I'd go over to your house, sure, not religiously, but, like, I would still go over to your house, and you never gave me weird vibes.
Yeah.
And I remember
Cat
thinking
gives
that
me weird vibes. I'm kidding.
You think that cat is gonna essay you when you're sleeping?
No, but I was genuinely about to lick your hand. Like, if you had put that in my mouth.
I was gonna pretend to punch you.
I was going to lick you. I was just, it was either that or bite you. I don't know why my brain went lick.
Fuck yeah.
And I just kind of remember being, like, really upset about the whole thing, because I was like, that doesn't seem right. And then I was talking to a name that we're both friends with, and, you know, I'm trying to force him to give me my sodas that he's supposed to give me every day. I don't know if you remember that, but
I wasn't supposed to give you sodas every day. Wait, what?
He had to pay for my friendship.
That's fair.
God.
Hey, that just knows you're going to be a great business person.
Yeah.
No, let me explain, because this is actually kind of important to maybe why your aunt thought I was using you for food, okay?
She did think
Thinking
that.
back on it, so...
How about we call him Ozzy?
Yeah.
I'm gonna call him August, because that's...
Okay, that works.
I'm on... Yeah. So, August, had just moved to our school, and I didn't know how to make friends yet, and so I was just kind of, like, absurdly obsessed with trying to be this guy's friend, because he was similar to D-Name, but...
We're like best friends, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and like, but at the same time, he was like soft giant vibes, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so I went up to him one day, and I just started
Yeah.
And I just started kicking the shit out of him.
What? Kicking him?
Yeah, in his shin, because I was short and he was tall, and so I would just kick the shit out of his shins. And I
had a coworker that I was given permission to kick in the shin.
Oh my god.
Is that August? No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was because he told me that every time he misgenders me, and because he was trying to remember, he goes, every time I mess up your pronouns, kick me in the shin. And I go, okay. So I kicked him in the shin.
Oh my god. Okay.
No, but also, like, A-Name was my neighbor. Like, we lived across the street from each other. And so I would, like, walk to school, and he would, like, be getting a ride from his grandma to the school. And so we'd meet each other at the school, and I just remember being like, I want to be this guy's friend. How do I be this guy's friend? And he had, like, sodas in lunchtime. And so I kicked him in the shin, like, repeatedly. And he was like, why are you doing this? And I was like, you should give me a sip of your soda. And he was like, why? And I was like, because I want one. And he's like, okay. And I was like, okay, every day you give me a sip of your soda, I won't, like, kick you in the shin anymore. And and August was like, oh, okay. And then it went from, I get a sip of your soda to you give me my own soda. Or, like, it went from a sip to a half, and then from that to I get my own. And at that point, he would give me rides to school so I could just grab my own. And I genuinely thought that he was a good person, and I didn't want to kick him anymore. But he told one of my classmates that I kick people really hard. And they were like, how do you know this? And I was like, and August was like, do you never, like, make them mad enough to hurt you? And then they're just like, no. And so they, like, forced me to kick this person because they were like arguing over whether or not I kicked hard or not.
Oh my god.
And so like I obviously kicked this person, and they're like, oh, I see why you give them sodas now. And I was
god.
You got a strong kick. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, I remember one time, like, him and you, I was outright told him in front of the 5th grade teacher, that was a mistake, she hated me. I was like, you guys should take my side because he's a liar. And you guys were like, no.
No, because I didn't know what side you were even talking about. I just heard that you tried to kiss D-Name, and I was like, why would I take your side on trying to kiss
Which is so funny
someone?
to me because I know for a matter of fact that Kat can't even make the first move on anything.
You're right. But, like, I didn't even...
You're right.
Oh, guys, I didn't even know they were hanging out, so this is, like, a totally new side of Kat to me.
Yeah.
I felt betrayed by Kat and D because they were hanging out behind my back, in my opinion. And so I was just like, I'm not choosing sides in this. And then, like...
Wait, hold on. I'm just saying, because I remember multiple times when I was at his house, I was like, Reese, your old name, lives nearby. Can we have them over so we can all play together? And he was like, they're probably not available. They're probably not home. Every single time.
That's so weird, because that's...
He had a definite crush on you and just didn't know how to admit it.
Yeah.
That boy was 100% gay. Didn't fucking understand why, and probably still doesn't want to accept it.
Yeah, and I still don't. I'm upset that no one took my side to this day because I was hardcore pressured. Like, I don't know if sexually harassed is the right word, but
that is the right word.
That's what it felt like at the time, without knowing what words to use.
I'm trying to get this.
But, like,
I want to put my feet up.
Yeah, it's okay.
But, like, then you started being weird with me, and I was like, well, I guess this means I don't have to defend you or be your personal therapist anymore. And
So
I remember...
You just took what you could get.
Yeah, and I remember, and this is like 6th grade us, I remember we were both in,
Cheerleading?
we were both in track. No, this was a track time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember...
sport?
2!
I was in cheerleading and I was in track back then.
You did any sort of sports?
Yeah, I also did basketball in 4th and 5th grade, and I was known as the ball stealer as a kid because that's all I was good at. Like, I could not make baskets, I could not throw the ball, but if I saw a kid with a ball, I would break all rules of basketball, run up and start tussling for it until they blew the whistle. Like... So
dang, okay.
I really want balls.
Like
I don't know.
now, at least.
I only played them so people would think I was cool. So
I didn't care about people thinking I was cool. I didn't play sports because I didn't like sports.
Yeah.
I didn't either. But I remember I don't even remember why I was so mad. But I do remember being really, really pissed at you, and we were on the bus, and you were like behind me or like right in front of me, and I was grounded at the time because I was always grounded. And you were like playing on like a iPod or tablet or like a phone or something.
Probably on the Nintendo 3DS. That was the only device I had back then.
I just remember yelling and screaming at you and saying really fucked up shit. I don't remember all of like the things that I said. I just remember that they were horrible and I probably should have never said them. Yeah. And after that, you moved away.
Great timing, right?
And I was like, oh, I guess they hate me now. And I remember being betrayed
to move for like a year, but no one wanted to buy the house. Like, we shouldn't have even been there for 6th grade. Like, I wish they bought it sooner. But anyways, so the teacher hated me, right? And it was really weird. The teacher had a bias. I remember one time a kid hit his head, right? And then the rest of us were kind of focused on lining up. So in 5th grade, the teacher yelled at us for not asking if he was okay.
Okay then.
And then the D-name kid got hurt, and I asked him if he was okay, and he started screaming at me for being an a-hole. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna ask him anymore. But then the teacher was like, you did the right thing. You just was like, you did the right thing. And so now I like you for one day. Is it the
same D-name that I said was Fruity?
Yes.
Yeah, again, just Fruity.
And so what ended up happening, and then one time I hurt my arm and I cried because I hit my wrist on something, and she said I was being over dramatic. So double standard for me, I guess, but like, yeah. Like, I remember one time we were talking, the teacher heard us arguing and like him saying mean things to me, and then I was upset, so the teacher was like, it was like toughen up or something. He didn't say anything that bad. Like, yeah, it was weird. Oh, the last day of school, she sent me to the principal because I held my pencil incorrectly.
I heard that story.
Yeah. So what happened to the podcast viewers is I was in because she didn't like give me time to make up the work for when I missed school for a month. Right? I'm in there, right? And she would regularly mock me because everyone else would get to go read to like the little kids. And this one little kid really connected with me for some reason. And so the teacher told me I was like garbage for not having my work done because that kid missed me. So but then on the last day, I'm like working on math. I'm really bad at math, right? So I'm doing my math, and she's like, "Hey, here, work harder. You're working too slow." I'm like, "Okay." So then my brain went into hyper focus mode because I like basically turned my ADHD off somehow, and I was like writing, and then she says, "Come with me," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" And she starts bringing me to the principal, and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "You weren't working." And I was like, I was though. Like, and I told her that I had the most answers done I'd ever done in the class. And she was like, "No, that can't be true because look at the way you were holding your pencil." I was like, "Bitch, I wasn't paying attention. I was just doing the work." So in the principal's office, I was crying because I'd never been sent there before other than for like the things with D name, right? And then and then I get brought in and she says, "Tell everyone in this room, tell all the like office ladies what you did to make yourself cry." Like, okay. And I didn't say anything. Then the principal calls me in and I start crying, right? And I basically just talk some mad shit about her. Like, I took no accountability because I didn't do anything wrong. So I start talking shit about her and saying everything she did, which are all things my dad already told her about, right?
Yeah.
And what would happen is he would talk to her and she'd be like, "Okay, I'd fix these things." And then the next day of class, she'd be really pissed at me. Like, one time she actually told me, "Why do you lie to dad about me? What is wrong with you?" And I was like, she actually got mad at me one time for talking to my dad about her. And then the teacher sits me down and was like, nods his head, like, "I think you both misunderstood each other this year. You guys should have been better to each other." I'm like, "Bitch, what did I do?" But, and I remember, and I like cried to him and I was like, "Can you I like begged him to fire her from her job and he wouldn't do it. So.
This brings us to when you left.
Yeah, 6th grade, the last year. So we got to meet our 3rd grade teacher again because she transferred to the middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So one time we were in cheerleading, right? And you were there too. And I went to the hallway because I was sad. And I told her I was being bullied by the kids because they were saying mean things to me, right? And then because they were all saying mean things to me, when she told the coach and they talked to the kids, they were all like, "Yeah, she's lying," like covering each other's asses. You know, I don't know if you were there that day, but.
Mm-hmm. No, I was, Sheena didn't like me. Because I was not, sorry, I shouldn't have said her name.
Is that the coach?
But, yeah. Coach woman didn't like me because, of her daughter, who was also in our class, whose name starts with an A.
Yeah, I remember her. Wasn't she, like, dumb but smart? Like, not in a mean way.
No, she was super smart and super pretty. She was just a bitch.
Yeah.
Hey, this has been going for two hours.
How did that happen?
I don't know, but we'll finish. Okay, soon.
I'm just letting you know this is going to be another 2-hour long episode.
That's fine with me, actually. I think I like the longer episodes, but.
And I just remember, like, she didn't, A-Name didn't like me because I had curly hair. So, you know, racism. So her mom also didn't like me because of racism. And I remember one time we were at a game, and someone had walked into the game that sort of looked like my mom. And 6th grade me had a meltdown and had to go into the cafeteria, and then I just wasn't allowed to be in cheerleading anymore.
Oh, so it might have been after that then. So what ended up happening, right? What happened to me after that, right? Is because this probably was after that. That means. Right, yeah. So because they were all being mean to me, when the teacher was like, did you guys say mean things to her? They were all obviously going to cover each other's asses. So they covered for each other. So the teacher started yelling at me for lying about being bullied, because that's not something to lie about.
There's a cat!
Oh my god, cat! Yay!
You didn't even notice until I said something.
Oh my god. But basically...
He wants all of my attention right now. He actually wants to go inside. He's just...
Yeah. And so I started crying and I begged the teacher to listen to me, and she was like, well, you're not exactly being truthful right now, so I'm not gonna listen to you. So I cried and went to the principal, who was still there, right? And the principal was like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop telling me what's going on. Get back to your practice. You're not supposed to be here. And I was like, okay.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the pretty kitty. Look at this!
Oh my god. Yeah, it's okay.
Hey, podcast people, if you can see me, this is Spaz, my kitty cat. Aww. He has 6 toes.
He has 6 toes?
Aww.
That's adorable.
Yeah, that's cute. Oh my god. And so they all accused me of lying, and I basically cried that whole day at cheer, and then I went home. And the next day at school, everyone was talking about how I quote-unquote slandered the kid's name.
Oh my God. Say something? How was J-Name, that was short, allowed to go and be a cheerleader, but it made you gay?
Yeah, I don't know how he was allowed, but I wasn't.
It's because of the fact that you were probably pretty feminine, and he probably wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, the only differences in your uniforms is you tucked your shirt in because you thought it, for comfort reasons, and Jamie didn't.
Yeah, and I think they had all heard that I was in ballet as a kid, too, so...
Oh.
So they probably thought this was another feminine activity, but...
I was in ballet at the time.
Yeah. I was
in ballet
because this one boy locked me in a closet and I got in trouble. So
you literally came out of the closet?
No. Literally. Yeah.
The closet, I'm sorry, but the closet was made of glass.
No, for real. Clocked it before you.
Mm-hmm.
Cat's closet was made of glass.
But we should talk about your YouTube video.
Oh my god, okay, I'll get to that because it was after we moved, but,
I would like to wrap this up because I still need to go to the store.
Okay. We'll go quick. Let's try to speed through this.
It's only 7.
I'm tired.
Let's try to speed through this. Okay, so I moved, and on the bus is where I'd get bullied because I had to take 3 buses to get there, and 2 of them are with the kids. And don't ask, it's not important, we gotta get through this. And one time, the teachers went in because they were like, we watched you guys saying horrible things on the TV, on the footage. And I was like, oh my god, they recorded them being mean to me, I'm gonna get justice. And what actually happened is they were like, you guys cannot be going around saying the S word and swear words on the bus. And I was like, okay, so calling me offensive names is okay.
They called you the F slur?
Yeah, but that was fine. Apparently, that was fine. But saying curse words wasn't.
Because that's probably what they were trying to classify as curse word.
Yeah, but. So it was weird, but yeah. And then I left and I moved and cut to a couple years later. I was on a high. I was remembering shit and I was like, oh my god, you know what I could do? This other girl posted this YouTube video called exposing my school, or it was something I had to wait till I graduated to post this video. And then I heard that it went viral, and so even though she didn't mention the school's name, there was an investigation on the school to get shut down. And I was like, let me swoop in. Let me get our elementary school shut down. So I did the video. No one watched it except kids at my school. Multiple of them commented
behind this. I'll tell you in a little bit.
multiple of them commented really mean shit. Like, one of them commented, "Miss you too, dead name," even though my actual name was in my channel at the time. So they were all being petty, you know? And then you commented, and so what ended up happening towards the end of 6th grade is I think you were mad at me, and because I think you had finally lost having to, like, be the person for me, which I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
So, like, when you were saying things like, "Oh, you're ugly, you'll never find love in your life," or something like that, like, I thought you were just saying that for no reason. Like...
Wow.
But I don't remember
laugh
saying
at that, but
saying-
Yeah.
I don't remember saying that. I do remember calling you ugly. I 100% remember that, and I was just like... I don't know why. I don't know why I said that. I just didn't find you attractive, and I thought you needed to know that. I don't know.
God. But yeah, so you
Oh,
would
I
say...
remember why. Okay, wait. I actually remember why. D-Name told me you had a crush on me, and so I got really pissed off, and I was like, "Kat, you're ugly. I don't like you, and I hope you never find love."
And me not knowing that like was information was spread about me, which I had a crush on you as a kid, don't get wrong. In like 2nd or 3rd grade I actually did. But in like middle school I didn't at all. Like that was so long gone. Like
Confirmed. You had a chance.
yeah. But basically that didn't so I was just really like, "Oh my god, they're so mean." And I went home and told my dad, and my dad was like, "Yeah, you should not be friends with them anymore if they're saying such cruel things." And they like ghosted you for a kid they met that year. So I was like, okay. So I was like, so for this, like when I made this video, like 9th grade, I was like, yeah, they're fake. And don't get me wrong, I regret being this vengeful and like petty to try to get the school shut down because it's the only school for like 100 miles. Like
8th grade.
I thought I made it in 9th grade because I was like already like transitioned and stuff, but it might have been like end.
No. This is the only reason I remember. One of the kids, B-Name that was Hispanic that called me Hispanic.
Yeah.
He found your video. I guess he was like stalking to find you or YouTube because I remember we were talking about. Oh my gosh! Remember when Kat? I mean, we said dead name, but I'm not using that name. Remember when Kat had like a YouTube channel, and so they spent like that whole day looking for it, and they found that video, brought it to school, and his aunt, who was the teacher, put it on for us
What?
to watch as a class.
They definitely did not expect all the shit I said in that video.
Wait, what?
No,
video?
they
Because I
did.
have no idea what you're talking about.
So in the video, I basically went year by year, and I basically exposed like how horribly I was treated, and I basically called like a bunch of people without saying their names. I was like calling them out without saying their names, and I was calling out the district. And I remember even saying in the video, I hope that this district gets exposed and the school gets shut down, because I saw a video, as I said, who this girl did the same thing, and her school actually got investigated. So I was like, let me do this. Let me get my old school investigated. So I was doing this to try to get the school shut down, basically. And I basically was just shit-talking everyone who treated me like shit. And you made it in there because of all the, like, mean things you said in 6th grade year, and because you took Dee's side and not mine. Basically.
Oh, and this is how I knew it was me. You described my hair.
I did. I did.
You were like,
Is this video still up? Can I find this video?
It's still up, yes. I think it's still up.
Hold on, I'm gonna try and find it. Y'all keep talking, but I'm gonna try and find it. What would I look up?
Go to my YouTube channel, like my main one.
I don't know what your main one is.
Fake. I'm just kidding. Okay, let me type it in. Can I type it in for you? Alright, maybe we'll put this at the end of the podcast, but
I 100% remember, like, you were describing
you just swiped
me.
on a notification.
oh, did I? I didn't realize.
It's okay.
I didn't mean to. It's just natural. There we go. Now you can scroll for like 2019 or 2020 or something.
Or just hit oldest.
And they put it on for the school, not the school, but like for the class. And I just remember you were like, and there was this one girl that I thought was my friend, but it turns out she was fake and talking shit about me behind my back. And I just remember commenting and being like, I was not a fake friend and I only talk shit to your face. Like,
yeah, and the reason I said that though was because kids actively told me that you talk shit about me, like, and that you didn't like me. So
no, only to your face. I don't do that talk shit behind people's
and
back.
like I was like, they were mean to me.
I don't like you. You will know, okay?
Yeah. And I was like, they called me ugly and said I'd never find love and said I just was gonna be single forever and all that shit. So I was like, I'm not going. I think they're fake and I'm gonna call them out. But I didn't call anyone out by name because I was like, I don't want to get sued. Thank you. So yeah, I was hoping that it would go viral like that girls video did and the school would get shut down. It didn't. Maybe like 100 people watched it. Like, wasn't enough to get the school shut down.
But then I remember once I had moved, I think it was maybe like, it was either freshman or sophomore year. I was randomly thinking about your video and I commented under it again and I was like, hey, I think I should apologize to you and I think we should talk. And you were like, okay.
I think after that, it probably was after my falling out with Jackson. To be honest, I was probably desperate for friends. Like,
yeah, that seems about right. I do think it's a little funny that and don't take this the wrong way, Jackson. I think we have a lot of similar personality traits.
Probably.
I think it's really funny that you went, oh, fuck this bitch, and then went and found the exact same bitch.
Yeah.
Dude, what was the name of the video? I'm trying to find it.
It was called Exposing My Old School. Very blunt. I'm pretty sure.
And I remember you, like, drew it, didn't you?
That was a separate Draw My Life video. That was separate. But I did talk shit about in that video, too. But I've done, like,
maybe it was
them.
I found it!
Okay, so maybe... Yeah.
I found it!
You did. You found it.
I'm gonna save it to watch later.
Oh my god.
I genuinely want to watch this.
Yeah, but I was like hoping the school got shut down. I'm still mad that no one saw it, so it didn't get shut down.
I don't subscribe to you. I'll just subscribe to your YouTube channel. In my defense, I don't use YouTube.
You're a TikToker, I get it.
I am.
Real.
But yeah, after that we kind of reconnected and we talked on and off again. I remember one time you got really mad at me because admittedly this was my fault. But what happened was you posted something like rate my looks out of 1 of 100 on Instagram, and I tried to bring it to 100, but my hand, my fingers started to cramp, so I pulled it off, never using this feature, thinking I could continue, but it just sent it as like 40%. I was like, shit, that's gonna look really bad. So I was gonna DM you, but it was like right before my therapy, so my dad grabs my phone. He was like, you can use that after therapy. So
I also remember this happening because and this was like, I was brand new to Instagram anyway, like I'd never really used it before.
Yeah.
And I was really insecure, clearly. And so I was like, rate my looks. And it was someone else that I did something similar that made me do this in the first place. And I remember all of my friends were like 100%, 100%, 100%. And then I just remember looking at it one time and I was like, why is it at 80%? That's weird. And I looked down and I'm like, wait. And at the time, I did not know, like, I knew that you had changed your name, but I don't know, weird. And I was like, wait, you're telling me that Kat thinks I'm ugly?
Kat of all people. like
of all people, you're telling me Kat thinks I'm ugly? And of course, you know, people had told me you had a crush on me in middle school, and I was 100% gonna use that. I was gonna be like, you can't think I'm ugly. Like, that's not allowed.
I don't think that at all. It was just I've never used that feature before and haven't used it since, so I didn't know that you couldn't take your finger off and then keep going. So
yeah.
Are we good to stop here?
But I DM'd you and it was clear. Now we're friends, so Jackson wants to stop, and you know,
I just want to go to the store and I'm tired. I want to get back to my bed.
Alright, but are you good with ending this, or there's anything else you want to say, Reese?
No, I just wanted to talk about the ghost, but that's whatever.
We can make a whole nother. My idea is that we will make a whole nother episode about paranormal stuff.
Yeah, and then oh my god, we need to talk about the cult that we did too. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Too.
Okay, can we just do this real quick and then finish?
What?
Just because these are a couple things that are really short that happen.
No, if it's paranormal stuff, we'll make a whole episode.
The cult thing isn't paranormal.
It can be considered.
It was definitely a little paranormal. We'll talk about it later.
We thought we convinced the whole school that we were all super spies and that we worship some spy god.
I don't remember that. I'm gonna find you.
God, but then everyone randomly forgot. So
I don't remember that. I do remember something else though.
Yeah, we can have you back for this paranormal one. All right.
Yeah, we can. I was thinking I'll explain it after we end.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you. It was really fun.
Alright guys, thank you guys for watching this week's episode, and next week we're going to be talking about an audition we did just a few days ago, whether or not one of us got a part. And
both of us, please, both of us.
Right, we got our fingers crossed right now. And we're going to also be talking about some of our tales and stories from being on stage in the past, because we've done a lot of theater together. So,
yeah.
Stay tuned and be ready for the next episode. Bye!